Next topic is dynamic storage allocation problem. How to satisfy a request of size n from a list of free partitions or holes in main memory. So here a size n means we have a user process of size n. So n synthesis here the memory requirement for a process. So how we will allocate free partition to the process of size n. So there are three approaches. Okay, so n sizeல இருக்க ஒரு ப்ராசஸ்க்கு நம்ம எப்படி மெமரியில பார்ட்டிஷன் allocate பண்ணுவோம். So there are three approaches: first fit, best fit and worst fit. So let us discuss the first one, that is first fit. So allocate the first hole that is big enough. Okay, so நம்ம ஒரு ப்ராசஸ்க்கு பார்ட்டிஷன் allocate பண்ணும்போது இருக்கிறது ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹோல் என்ன பண்றோம், அந்த ப்ராசஸ்க்கு allocate பண்றோம். Searching can start either from the beginning of the set of holes or where the previous first fit search ended. We can stop searching as soon as we find the free hole that is large enough. So when we are scanning for a partition in the list, we will start either from the beginning or from where the previous first fit search ended. And when we can stop the search as soon as we find a free hole that is large enough to hold the process. So let me explain with this diagram. So this is the main memory with partitions, and here there are process waiting in the ready queue. So first step another, I have to allocate the memory, that is the first hole that is big enough, right? So here I am choosing this process and I am allocating this in this partition. So the first partition is large enough to hold the process, right? Next step. Picking the next one, second partition. It is also large enough to hold the second process. Coming to the third, can't fit in this third partition. Fourth partition can hold the process well, right? Next step. Fourth process can fit in this partition, and here I can't place this process in any of the partitions, right? And here there you can see here there are two partitions that are remains free, but we can't merge into a single partition as they are not contiguous. பக்கத்துல பக்கத்துல இல்லாதனால நம்மளால அதை merge பண்ண முடியாது. Next one thing, this process can be what allocated into this partition until and unless this process finishes its execution. இந்த process finish ஆகி terminate ஆனாதான் நம்மளால இந்த process என்ன பண்ண முடியும், இந்த partition allocate பண்ண முடியும். Okay, so this is the concept about what first fit. Okay, next we are moving to best fit. So allocate the smallest hole that is big enough. ஸோ இங்கே என்ன பண்ணுறோம், இருக்கிறதுல எது ஸ்மாலஸ்ட் ஹோல், அந்த ப்ராசஸை எந்த ஹோல் வந்து ஹோல்டு பண்ணுது, இருக்கிறதுல ஸ்மாலஸ்ட் ஹோலை நம்ம சூஸ் பண்ணுறோம். We must search the entire list unless the list is ordered by size. So here we are scanning for the partition in the list, and until a smallest hole that is big enough to hold the process, we will continue the search. And this strategy produces the smallest leftover hole. So let us discuss with the diagram. And here this is the partition, memory partition, right? And first step, we have to allocate the process to the smallest hole. So I can place in the first portion, the first partition can large enough to hold the data, but it is not a smallest hole. So we have to allocate the process to a smallest hole. So I can allocate this to the second partition, which is good enough to hold the process. Next, choosing my next process, I can place it here, right? Is a best fit for the process. Next, third one, third process, I can place in this partition. This is a best fit for this process. Choosing my next process, this fourth partition can hold the data, but it is not a smallest hole. So we should allocate the process to the smallest hole, that is best fit. Okay. Okay. Next, here this larger process can fit into this partition. which is best fit for this process. So here you can see here only one partition is left free. Okay, so you are left with the smallest leftover hole. Next approach is worst fit. Allocate the largest hole. So we are allocating the process to the largest hole in the partition. Okay, and we must search the entire list unless it is sorted by size. So this is something we discussed in the previous approach. That is, we scan for the partition in the list, and until a largest hole that is found, we have to search the list. This strategy produces the largest leftover hole, whereas in best fit it left with the smallest leftover hole, and here in worst fit case, yep, it will produce us the largest leftover hole. Okay, so let us discuss with the diagram. So what's the first step? You have to allocate a process with the largest hole. So I'm choosing this first process, and which is the largest hole in the partition, this partition. So okay, and the second process, the next largest one is here. Okay, next moving to the third one. So which is the next largest hole? This one. The fourth process, so I can place it here, right? So it does not fit in this partition. Okay, so here there are three partitions which are not merged into a single partitions, which means they are not contiguous. Okay, so we can only merge the partitions into a single partition only when they are in contiguous. So here there are many free partitions left. Okay, which are unused. And here this process can be allocated to this partition until and unless this process finishes its execution and terminates. Okay, only then we can allocate this process to the memory.